A car explosion in occupied Sevastopol targeted a Russian military officer. The blast took out the chief of staff of the 41st Brigade, Captain First Rank Valery Trankovsky. Witnesses report the explosion was so powerful it scattered debris across the courtyard, leaving a massive hole beneath the vehicle. This is maybe the first video of a Western MBT knocking out a Russian tank in Ukraine. In this case, a Leopard 2A4. The vehicle engaged a convoy of vehicles where there were at least 2 tanks in front. The first received multiple hits, but it was only destroyed with 1 shot to the side. Soldiers of the 2nd Battalion, 95th Air Assault Brigade, successfully repelled a Russian assault in the Kursk region. A week into their counteroffensive aimed at eliminating Ukraine's 250 square mile salient in western Russia's Kursk Oblast, Russian forces have suffered staggering casualties and have very little to show for it so far. They've retaken the village of Pogrebki on the northern edge of the salient. But that's little consolation to the hundreds of Russians who have died in failed assaults elsewhere along the salient's northern and western sides. The Russians' problem is twofold. First, there are only so many roads into the salient from the north and west, and the Russians keep attacking along them day after day despite previous defeats. Second, it's not clear Russian commanders are giving their troops accurate intelligence on the disposition of Ukrainian forces in the salient. All that is to say, the Russian attacks are both predictable and blind. It's a recipe for massive losses. Kriegsforscher, a Ukrainian drone operator supporting the defense of Kursk, has tallied 88 destroyed Russian vehicles on 3 main roads, threading through and around the settlement of Zelenyi Shailak, in the no-man's land on the salient's northwestern flank. The Ukrainian 17th Heavy Mechanized Brigade, 41st and 47th Mechanized Brigades, and 95th Air Assault Brigade, among other units, have met the Russians with mines, artillery, missiles, drones, and tanks. Money is running out. Putin has reduced compensation for Russian soldiers injured in action. Previously, wounded soldiers were eligible for a lump sum payment of 3 million rubles, $30,000, and 5 million rubles, $50,000, in the case of death, without consideration of injury severity. Now the minimum compensation will be only 100,000 rubles, $1,000, for the smallest traumas and up to 3 million rubles for very serious injuries. According to Russia's deputy defense minister, the current compensation structure doesn't consider individual circumstances or the severity of injuries. This has sparked a major backlash among Russian public figures connected to the war, who point out that additional insurance payments did, in fact, account for injury severity, making the deputy minister's statement false. In any case, the piggy bank is getting slimmer. According to ZNUA sources, Brian Hook is the main candidate for the post of special envoy to Ukraine for negotiations on the end of the war from Donald Trump. Hook is an American diplomat, lawyer, and civil servant. Joined Cerberus Capital Management in 2021 as vice chairman of global investments. He is an adjunct professor at Duke University's Sanford School of Public Policy. During the administration of George W. Bush, he worked as an assistant secretary of state for international organizations, senior advisor to the U.S. ambassador to the UN, special assistant to the president for policy in the office of the chief of staff of the White House, and counselor in the Office of Legal Policy at the U.S. Department of Justice. In May 2018, Hook, along with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, visited North Korea to meet with Kim Jong-un and release 3 American hostages. From September 2018 to August 2020, he worked as the U.S. Special Representative for Iran and a senior policy advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. He was the Director of Policy Planning under Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. In his position in particular, he tried to agree with European leaders on an expanded nuclear agreement with Iran. Hook also negotiated the release of 2 Iranian hostages, Siue Wong and Michael White. We will remind, according to the FT, Ukraine was developing a victory plan taking into account the possible coming to power of Donald Trump and his business views, indicating potential business deals, access to raw materials, and the deployment of troops. According to the publication's sources, the Republican was interested in the relevant points. A federal judge sentenced a Massachusetts Air National Guard member to 15 years in prison Tuesday for leaking classified military documents about the war in Ukraine. Actions prosecutors said put the country's national security at risk, endangered other military members, and damaged U.S. relationships with its allies. Jack Teera had pleaded guilty in March to 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of national defense information under the Espionage Act, nearly a year after his arrest in the most consequential national security breach in years. Wearing an orange jumpsuit in court, he showed no reaction as he was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani. Today, Mr. Teera has paid a very heavy price for laws he broke, for the incredible damage that he caused, acting Massachusetts U.S. Attorney Josh Levy said afterward. This significant sentence sends a powerful message to every individual who holds a top-secret clearance. Anyone who willfully threatens our national security by illegally disseminating classified information will face very serious repercussions. I will live for revenge for the sake of the memory of my mother, daughter, and grandson. 27-year-old Sophia, her son Adam, who was just 1 year old, and his grandmother, Tetiana, were killed by the massive Russian attack on Zaporizhzhia on November 7th. After the outbreak of the full-scale war, Sophia went to the UK, where she worked as a translator at a military base. But she soon returned home because she missed her family. Sophia dreamed of being a psychologist, helping people, just like Tetiana. The only thing left of their apartment is a scratched photo found in the ruins of the house, destroyed by Russia.
Це останні кадри з Адамом, які зняла його бабуся і надіслала в сімейний чат. Хлопцеві був лише рік.
Навіщо ти знімаєш шапочку? Адам, буде холодно. Холодно буде.
Вже за кілька годин після цієї прогулянки в їхній будинок влучила російська бомба. Пан Сергій у момент атаки працював. На останні його повідомлення «У вас усе гаразд?» донька вже не відповіла. Коли він прибіг додому, довго не міг впізнати будинок.
Годину ходив отут, аж потім я зрозумів, що тут нічого немає.
Я дізналася, що місто обстрілюють кабами. Я почала телефонувати мамі і Соні, і з ними вже не було зв'язку.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.